6 months ago, I walked into a tire shop to get a simple rotation. Just swap the fronts with the backs, balance them, send me on my way. 20 minutes, $40, done. The tech finished up, handed me my keys, and said, "You're all set. I topped off your air, too. You were a little low." I said thanks and drove off. Didn't think twice about it. 6 months and 12,000 miles later, I'm back at a tire shop. But this time, I'm not there for a rotation. I'm there because my tires are destroyed. The outer edges are completely bald. The inner edges still have decent tread. And the tire tech is telling me I need 4 new tires at $800. These tires had less than 20,000 miles on them. They were rated for 60,000. I did everything right. Regular rotations, no burnouts, no curb strikes. What the hell happened? The answer was right there on the door jamb of my car, 32 PSI. That's what the tire shop set my pressure to 6 months ago. And that single decision cost me $800 and nearly got me killed in the rain last week when I realized I had no grip on the outer edges of my tires. Let me tell you exactly what went wrong and how you can avoid making the same expensive mistake. Let me take you back to that day at the tire shop. I remember it clearly now because I've replayed it in my head about 100 times. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I pulled into one of those chain tire shops. You know the ones. I won't name them, but you've seen them everywhere. I asked for a tire rotation and balance, standard maintenance stuff. While I was waiting, I watched the tech work on my car through the window. He put it on the lift, swapped the tires around, ran them on the balancer, all normal stuff. Then at the end, he grabbed an air hose and went around to each tire, checked the pressure, added some air, moved to the next one. When he brought my car back, he seemed genuinely helpful. He said my pressure was low, around 28 PSI, and he topped everything off to 32. That's what your door sticker says, he told me. You should check it more often. And here's the thing, he wasn't wrong. My door sticker does say 32 PSI, and I probably should check my pressure more often. He thought he was helping me. He probably helps dozens of customers the same way every single day. But what he didn't know, and what most tire techs don't know, and what most drivers definitely don't know, is that 32 PSI was slowly destroying my tires. And it happens to thousands of people every single day. Let me explain what that door jamb sticker actually represents, because this is where everyone gets it wrong. That number, whether it's 30, 32, 35 PSI, whatever your car says, is not the optimal tire pressure. Read that again. It's not the optimal tire pressure. It's the minimum safe pressure for the maximum load your vehicle is rated to carry. Think about what that means. The car manufacturer calculated the worst-case scenario. They imagined your car fully loaded with 5 adults, luggage in the trunk, maybe a roof rack with cargo, maximum weight. Then they determined what's the minimum pressure needed to safely support all that weight at highway speeds without the tires overheating or failing. That's the number on your door. It's a safety floor, not a performance target. Now here's the problem. How often are you actually driving with your car fully loaded? For most of us, it's just you driving to work, maybe you and a passenger, some groceries in the back. Your car weighs way less than its maximum rated load 95% of the time. When you run the minimum pressure in a lightly loaded car, bad things happen to your tire's contact patch. The sidewalls flex more than they should, the tire bulges outward slightly, the center of the tread lifts up just a little bit, and all the weight concentrates on the outer edges. This is exactly what happened to me.
For 6 months, I drove around with 32 PSI and tires that should have had 38 to 40. Every mile I drove, the outer edges were doing all the work while the center of the tread was barely touching the road. By the time I noticed, the edges were gone. Not worn down, gone, down to the wear bars. The centers still looked almost new. Classic underinflation wear pattern, and I had no idea until it was too late. Let me get a little technical here, because once you understand how this works, you'll never trust that door sticker again. Your tire's contact patch is the area where rubber actually meets the road. It's about the size of your hand for each tire. That small area is responsible for all your acceleration, all your braking, and all your cornering grip. Everything your car does happens through those 4 hand-sized patches of rubber. When your tire is properly inflated, the contact patch is roughly rectangular and evenly distributed across the width of the tread. The weight of the car is spread evenly, the tire wears evenly, the grip is consistent across the entire surface. When your tire is underinflated, the contact patch changes shape, the tire bulges at the bottom, the center of the tread lifts slightly, and the contact patch becomes more like 2 separate strips on the outer edges. Now you're concentrating all that force on a smaller area. This creates 2 problems. First, the edges wear out way faster because they're doing more than their share of the work. Second, you actually have less total grip because less rubber is touching the road. Think about it this way. If you have 100 pounds of force spread across 10 square inches, that's 10 pounds per square inch. If you have the same 100 pounds spread across only 6 square inches because the center isn't touching, that's almost 17 pounds per square inch on those edges. That's 70% more stress on the rubber. That's 70% faster wear. That's why my 60,000-mile tires died at 20,000 miles. They weren't defective, they were just worn out 3 times faster than they should have been. And here's what really makes me angry. When I went back to that tire shop to get new tires, the tech looked at my worn-out tires and said, "Yeah, looks like you were running them underinflated. You should check your pressure more often." The audacity. The same shop that set my pressure to 32 was now blaming me for running underinflated. They had no clue that 32 was the problem. So if 32 isn't the right number, what is? Here's the secret that tire shops don't tell you. The correct pressure depends on the tire, not the car. Every tire has a maximum pressure rating molded into the sidewall. It's right there on the tire. It'll say something like max press 51 PSI or max load 1,400 pounds at 44 PSI cold. This is the tire manufacturer telling you the upper limit of what that specific tire can handle. The optimal pressure for tire wear and fuel economy is typically 10 to 15% below that maximum. For most passenger car tires, this works out to somewhere between 38 and 42 PSI. I know what you're thinking, but that's way higher than my door sticker. Won't that make the ride harsh? Won't I wear out the center of the tread? Let me address both of those. First, the ride quality. Yes, higher pressure makes the ride slightly firmer. You might feel more bumps on rough roads, but the difference between 32 and 40 PSI is honestly not that dramatic on modern cars with modern suspension. Most people don't even notice. And the trade-off is worth it. Better tire wear, better fuel economy, better handling, shorter stopping distances. Second, the center wear myth. This was true in the old days when tires had rounder profiles. If you overinflated them, they'd bulge in the center and wear unevenly. But modern tires are designed with flatter profiles specifically to avoid this problem.
At 40 PSI, my current tires show perfectly even wear across the entire tread width. After I replaced my destroyed tires, I ran an experiment. I set the new tires to 40 PSI instead of 32. I've been running them for 15,000 miles now. I just checked the tread depth yesterday. Perfectly even wear. The outer edges and the center are wearing at exactly the same rate. At this pace, these tires will easily make it to 60,000 miles, maybe even 70. That's more than triple what I got out of the last set. And here's a bonus I didn't expect. My fuel economy improved by almost 8%. I was averaging 26 miles per gallon at 32 PSI. At 40 PSI, I'm getting 28. Over 15,000 miles a year at $3.50 a gallon, that's saving me about $150 annually in gas. Higher pressure, better tire life, better fuel economy, better handling. And it's free. All you have to do is add a little more air. Now, I need to address the elephant in the room. Is running 40 PSI safe? Yes, absolutely yes, as long as you're not exceeding the tire's maximum rated pressure. Remember, the maximum pressure on most passenger tires is 44 to 51 PSI. Running 40 in a tire rated for 51 is not overinflation. It's not even close. You have an 11 PSI safety margin. Overinflation would be running 55 PSI in that same tire. That would be dangerous. The tire could blow out, especially when it heats up from driving. Don't do that. But running 40 in a 51 max tire, that's completely within the design specifications. The tire engineers at Goodyear and Michelin and Bridgestone designed that tire to operate safely at up to 51 PSI. At 40, you're just using more of the tire's capability. Think about it this way. The door jamb pressure of 32 is for maximum load. Your actual load is probably 40% less than maximum. So why would you run the minimum pressure for the maximum load? It doesn't make any sense once you think about it. The only scenario where you might want to run lower pressure is if you're actually fully loading the car. Road trip with 4 adults and a trunk full of luggage? Sure, maybe run 35 or 38. Adjust for the actual conditions. But for daily driving with just you in the car, 40 PSI all day long. And here's something that might surprise you. Higher pressure actually improves safety in some ways. Your stopping distance is shorter because you have a stiffer contact patch that grips better under braking. Your handling is more responsive because there's less sidewall flex. Your tire runs cooler because there's less internal flexing generating heat. The only downside is the slightly firmer ride. That's it. And honestly, most people prefer the way their car handles at higher pressure once they try it. Here's the frustrating part. Most tire shop technicians don't know any of this. They're trained to check the door jamb and set the pressure to match. That's the protocol. That's what corporate tells them to do. And from a liability standpoint, it makes sense. If they set your pressure to what your car manufacturer recommends and something goes wrong, they're covered. But they're not trained to understand tire engineering. They're not taught about contact patches or wear patterns or the difference between minimum safe pressure and optimal pressure. They rotate tires, they mount and balance, they patch punctures. The science behind tire pressure isn't part of the job. And most of them genuinely think they're helping when they top off your air to 32. They see that your pressure is 38 and think, oh, this person's tires are overinflated, I should fix that. So they let air out. They make it worse while trying to help. I've had this happen multiple times since I started running 40 PSI.
I take my car in for something unrelated, and I come out to find my pressure dropped back to 32. Now I have to explicitly tell every shop, do not touch my tire pressure. I run it higher than the door sticker on purpose. Some of them look at me like I'm crazy. Others argue with me. Sir, your tires are overinflated. The sticker says 32. I have to explain the whole thing about minimum pressure for maximum load, and their eyes glaze over. Eventually, they just shrug and leave it alone. This is why I started checking my tire pressure after every shop visit, every single time. I trust no one with my tire pressure anymore. It takes 30 seconds with a $10 digital gauge. Small price to pay for not destroying another set of tires. All right, let me give you a practical guide to finding the right pressure for your specific car and tires. Step 1. Find the maximum pressure rating on your tire sidewall. Look for max press followed by a number. Write that down. Step 2. Calculate 10 to 15% below that maximum. If your tire says max press 51 PSI, 10% below is about 46, 15% below is about 43. Your optimal range is somewhere between 43 and 46 PSI. Step 3. Start at the lower end of that range. Set all 4 tires to 43 PSI cold. Cold means the car has been sitting for at least 3 hours. Don't check pressure right after driving because heat increases pressure. Step 4. Drive normally for a week or two. Pay attention to how the car feels. Does it handle well? Is the ride acceptable? Check for any unusual noise or vibration. Step 5. Check your tire wear after a few thousand miles. Look at the tread across the entire width. Is it wearing evenly? If the center is wearing faster than the edges, drop the pressure by 2 psi. If the edges are still wearing faster, increase by 2 psi. Step 6. Fine-tune until you find the sweet spot. For most people, it's somewhere between 38 and 42 psi. Some performance cars with stiffer sidewalls might run higher. Some comfort-oriented vehicles might be better at the lower end. And remember, check your pressure monthly. Tires naturally lose about 1 psi per month through normal permeation. If you set them to 40 and never check, you'll be at 34 in 6 months. Set a reminder on your phone. First of every month, check tire pressure. It takes 2 minutes and saves hundreds of dollars. Let me put some real numbers to this so you understand what's at stake. My destroyed tires cost $800 to replace. If I had run the correct pressure, they would have lasted 60,000 miles instead of 20,000. That's 40,000 additional miles I lost. At current tire prices, that's about $500 in tire value that I just threw away. Add in the fuel economy loss. 8% worse fuel economy over 20,000 miles at current gas prices is roughly $200 in wasted fuel. And then there's the safety risk. Driving on worn-out tires in the rain, not knowing they were worn out, could have killed me or someone else. You can't put a dollar value on that. Total cost of trusting the 32 PSI myth, over $700 and 1 near accident. All because a well-meaning tire tech set my pressure to what the door sticker said. I'm not angry at that tech. He did what he was trained to do. I'm angry at the system that trains people wrong. I'm angry that this information isn't common knowledge. I'm angry that I had to destroy a set of tires to learn something that should be taught in driver's ed. So here's my message to you. Don't trust the door sticker. Don't trust the tire shop to set your pressure correctly. Take control of this yourself. Check your tire sidewall for the maximum pressure. Run 10 to 15% below that. Check your pressure monthly, and every time you leave a shop, verify they didn't mess with your air.
It's simple stuff. It takes almost no time, and it will save you hundreds of dollars while keeping you safer on the road. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me about tire problems you've experienced. Have you ever had a shop set your pressure wrong? Have you noticed uneven wear and couldn't figure out why? And let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing comments from all over the world. Last video, I saw people from Brazil, Australia, Germany, Philippines. This community is everywhere, and that's amazing. If this video saved you from making the same expensive mistake I made, smash that like button and subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you in the next one.